Welcome to Hearts Wine from Hearts Distractions. I'm your host, Alicia Minor Gaines, and today we're diving headfirst into a topic that can either make or break your relationship. Love languages. Now, let me ask you this. Have you ever poured your heart into doing something special for your partner, only to get a lukewarm reaction? Maybe you felt unseen because what you need just isn't clicking for them. Or you feel confused because your partner wanted to engage in watching TV when you were looking for them to clean up the kitchen after you just cooked dinner. Yeah, I've been there in relationships too. But I know some of you are thinking, is it possible for my partner to give me what I need? Can my partner tend to what I want out of this relationship or marriage? Can my partner recognize the need to show up differently from the way they are used to in a relationship? If I can take some time to shed a little light on these issues, you know I'm going to try, right? Especially because we all deserve to be attended to in the way that feels rewarding to us, along with receiving the extra benefits of what our partners can give naturally. Yes, this episode is for the lovebirds who want to step out of their own comfort zones and step into the blissfulness of their partner's reality, even if it feels impossible. So, if you're ready to unpack and uncover how love languages can play a vital part in your relationship or marriage, then hold on to your assumptions and perspectives, because I might just have you wanting to put those in a box and throw it in the ocean after this episode. And instead, grab your glass of wine, cup of coffee, or any one of your favorite wine down beverages, and let's begin to speak the language of our partner's love. I'm your relationship expert with over 20 years of professional and personal experience. Now I get to be your host, in addition to being a wife, a mother, a licensed marriage and family therapist. If you don't know, I'm someone who's passionate about helping people navigate the ups and downs of love and relationships. I understand relationships on all levels while also recognizing and calling out the things that most don't acknowledge, including family, friendships, and how mental health plays out in relationships. I'm also a relationship coach, an entrepreneur, and the author of Distractions of the Heart, a poetry book all about the messy, beautiful emotions and relationships we experience and carry in our hearts. And when I'm not having deep conversations or helping others, you might catch me mixing up a drink or two. Yeah, I'm a bit of a mixologist at heart and enjoy coming up with new flavored cocktails. So grab your glass of wine or whatever helps you unwind. Get comfortable and let's talk about all the heart's distractions that cause your heart to whine in your new favorite relationship podcast. Let's break it down, shall we? Dr. Gary Chapman, the genius behind the 5 love languages, said that each of us has a primary way we give and receive love. I like to think that there's a secondary as well that kind of takes play, depending on what your scores come out to when you take the quiz. The 5 are words of affirmation, acts of service, receiving gifts, quality time, and physical touch. Let's talk about what each one means, and I'll even share some examples to help you walk through how to show up in each of these areas. First up, words of affirmation. People with this love language thrive on verbal expressions of love and encouragement. Compliments, kind words, and heartfelt affirmations make them feel appreciated and valued. Think about it like this. When someone says, "I'm so proud of you," or "I love how thoughtful you are," it's like music to their ears. It's not just about flattery. It's about genuinely acknowledging who they are and what they contribute. Have you ever had a partner who, let's say, lights up when you say, "You're amazing," or "You handled that situation so well"? Who wouldn't want to hear these words? Next, we have acts of service. This one is my favorite, y'all. This is my love language. This one is all about action. People who feel loved when their partner goes out of their way to do things for them. Partners who go out of their way to be attentive and notice that you need some things taken off of your plate, so you're not feeling left with feelings of overwhelmness. I don't know if that's a word, but we're going to use it today. Typically, it's really overwhelmed, but overwhelmness just sounded pleasant. But the ultimate goal is to help your partner not feel overwhelmed, frustrated because there's too much on their plate, too many responsibilities that they feel they need to accomplish in their day. And being able to show up for them this way, to take something off their plate, trust me, they will truly appreciate it. But imagine this. You're exhausted after a long day, and your partner surprises you by cooking dinner or taking care of a chore you've been pretty much dreading all day to do. Especially if you're like me and you don't like laundry. Please take that off my plate. That's what this love language is all about. Effort and thoughtfulness after completing tasks through these form of actions. It's like saying, "I've got you," without using words. Then there's receiving gifts. Now, this one sometimes gets a bad rap because people think it's materialistic, but it's not. It's about the sentiment behind the gift. We're talking about the type of gifts that are priceless, that might cost you nothing, that can be free, as well as, yes, it might cost you a little bit, or it could cost you a lot, depending on how you're looking at it. But more likely, the gift that your partner is looking for is something that is meaningful. Picture this. You're having a rough week, and your partner brings home your favorite coffee or writes you a heartfelt note. See how that only costs a little bit or nothing? It's the thought and effort that counts, not the price tag. Quality time, let's talk about it. It's all about focused, undivided attention. I'm going to say that a little louder for the people in the back that did not hear that. Quality time. It's all about focused, undivided attention. Meaning you need to be attentive. For these individuals, it's less about what you're doing and more about being present. I'm going to give y'all an example of what I mean by that. Have you ever noticed how some people's faces light up when you plan a no-phone dinner or just to take a walk together? It's about saying, "I see you and I'm here with you." It's about being in the space with your partner and eliminating all of the distractions that take away your attention from them. And finally, there's physical touch. This one emphasizes the power of physical connection. From holding hands to cuddling or a warm hug. And if I've learned anything from some of my male clients and stud clients who like their back rubbed, this one falls in that category too. Think about it. When was the last time a simple hug turned your whole day around? Physical touch isn't just about romance. It's about reassurance and love through physical presence. So, if anything that you've learned about these 5 love languages, there's a lot of different components to each of them. But collectively, especially if you don't have a specific love language, tapping into each one of these can definitely help build a stronger connection in your relationship. So, how do these love languages play out in real life? I know some of y'all was waiting for that, right? So, I think what I'm going to do here for y'all is share a little story. Let's say I have this friend named Lisa. Love her, right? But wow, she's all about quality time. But her boyfriend, Mike, that's what we're going to call him. We're going to call him Mike today. He's team physical touch. Now, Lisa plans this cozy movie night, but Mike spends the whole time trying to cuddle. And Lisa's like, can you just watch the movie? Classic mismatch, right? They had to sit down and talk about how they both show love differently. Spoiler alert, it saved their relationship. I'm going to give you another example. Let's talk about Tina and Bree. Tina's love language is acts of service, and Bree's is words of affirmation. Let's say Bree spent hours cleaning up the house and preparing a fancy dinner, knowing Tina will be working late. But when Tina came home, all Bree got was a thanks. Rude, right? I know some of y'all was thinking that, because I was. Meanwhile, Bree was waiting for Tina to say, I appreciate you so much. It wasn't until they identified their love languages that they realized they were speaking different dialects of love. Have you ever experienced something like that? Or maybe you've been the one unintentionally missing the mark. Trust me, I've been on both sides of the fence, and it's a learning process for sure, but a process worth learning. To avoid getting stuck in these patterns, let's talk about how you can show love in ways your partner will truly appreciate you. Here are a few examples for each love language, but instead of listing them, let's chat about what these look like in action. If your partner's love language is words of affirmation, you could write them a love note or send a text during the day just to say, hey, I'm thinking about you. How do you feel when someone does that for you? It's such a small thing, but it can make such a big impact. For acts of service, think about the little things you can do to lighten their load. Maybe it's making their favorite breakfast on a busy morning or running an errand they've been putting off. What's something small you've done that's made a big difference for someone else, especially your partner? If receiving gifts is their thing, it's less about the price and more about the thought. Imagine surprising them with their favorite snack or a handwritten note. I love sticky notes or post-it notes. That's what they're called, right? Have you ever received something simple but so meaningful it stuck with you? Those kind of things stick with me on a regular day. I don't know about y'all, but I think most of us need to be giving out more of those colorful sticky notes. Quality time is all about presence, right? So plan a romantic date. Or how about doing a painting with twist? It's about the quality of time that you're spending together. And maybe even engaging in some activities that your partner likes. It's about creating moments where you can genuinely connect. What's a memorable moment you've shared with someone where you felt totally seen? And for physical touch, it's not just about grand gestures. Sometimes it's as simple as holding hands during a walk or giving a kiss randomly in your day, giving out spontaneous hugs, or putting your hand on your partner's leg while driving. When was the last time you did some of these things for your partner and it changed the vibe completely. Now let's get a little nerdy and talk about the research behind love languages and some of the controversies surrounding them. Here's a big question to kick things off. Do you think love languages can fix a fundamentally incompatible relationship? I know, that was a whole mouthful, right? But when was the last time? No. If you and your partner have different core values or long-term goals, no amount of quality time or thoughtful gifts will bridge that gap. Love languages are tools, not a magic wand. A study published in the Journal of Marriage and Family Therapy found that couples who actively practice understanding love languages report about 75% higher satisfaction in their relationships. I'm going to repeat that for those in the back who didn't hear me. A study published in the Journal of Marriage and Family Therapy found that couples who actively practice understanding love languages report 75% higher satisfaction in their relationships. That's huge, right? But of course, we have our critics out there who argue that love languages might oversimplify the deeper emotional needs in a relationship. Like, what if there are trust issues or lingering resentment? Can speaking their love language really solve that? What do you think? Are love languages enough on their own, or do they need to work alongside other tools? I'm going to pause and let y'all think about that one for a second. Here's another question. Should couples compromise if their love languages clash? And if they do, is it fair to expect one partner to step out of their comfort zone more than the other? Some things to think about and reflect on. But here's the thing. Love is about meeting each other halfway. If it feels like you're losing yourself or constantly bending over backward, that's a red flag. But making an effort to learn your partner's love language, that's compromise, not sacrifice. I'm going to say that again. That's compromise, not sacrifice. Another interesting debate is whether love languages are influenced by cultural or gender norms. Do you think someone raised in a family that values verbal expression is naturally going to lean towards words of affirmation? Or maybe cultural values around physical affection impact how we prioritize physical touch? And speaking of generational differences, this one's fascinating. Have you ever noticed how older generations might lean more towards acts of service, while younger folks seem all about quality time or physical touch? Did you know older generations may have a harder time expressing love through words of affirmation because they were raised in environments where verbal praise wasn't common? I'm sure someone's grandmother used to say, "We show love by doing, not talking about it." If you're with someone who grew up in that mindset, they might lean heavily into acts of service without even realizing it. It really makes you think about how upbringing shapes what we value in relationships. And here's a fun one. Can over-reliance on love languages make a relationship feel transactional? It's a valid concern, people. If you're constantly tallying up who did what for whom, you're so missing the point. Love languages should enhance your connection, not turn into a scoreboard. So check your intentions. Yep, I said it. You might want to check your intentions. Are you expressing love to build intimacy, or are you expecting something in return? Something to think about. All right, it's time to really stir the pot with some controversial conversations that couples are talking about when it comes to love languages. And let me tell you, some of these might challenge how you see relationships, maybe even your own that you're currently in. Let's tackle the tough questions about love languages, the ones that make you go, First up, what happens when one partner resents accommodating the other's love language? This can be a big one, right? Resentment often stems from feeling unappreciated or like your efforts aren't being reciprocated. To avoid or resolve this, couples should establish open and ongoing communication about their needs and feelings. For instance, partners can schedule, let's say, regular check-ins to share how their love languages are being met and where they feel overlooked. It's also essential to express appreciation explicitly when a partner makes an effort, even if it's not perfect. Acknowledging the attempt can prevent feelings of invisibility. Additionally, couples might benefit from finding ways to blend their love languages creatively, so the efforts feel less like sacrifices and more like collaborative acts of love. For example, because I'm going to give those. If one partner values acts of service and the other physical touch, they could cook a meal together, combining actions and affection. If you're in this boat, it's time to communicate. Sit down with your partner and say, I'm trying to meet your needs, but I'm feeling a little unseen in the process. How can we balance this better? Here's another question. Should love languages take precedence over personal growth? Ooh, that one's a good one. This one is way too deep for some of us. But here's my perspective. Love languages are a tool to strengthen your relationship, but they shouldn't overshadow your own journey of self-improvement. Think of it this way. The stronger you are as an individual, the better partner you can be. To achieve this balance, start by setting personal goals that align with your passions and values. Whether it's advancing in your career, exploring a creative hobby, or even prioritizing your own mental health through therapy, relationship coaching, or mindfulness practices. Share these goals with your partner to foster understanding and mutual encouragement. At the same time, actively make space for your partner's needs by learning to integrate their love language into your daily interactions. For instance, if your personal growth involves, let's say, dedicating time to a new skill, but your partner values quality time, find ways to include them. Perhaps by, let's say, practicing your skill together or sharing your progress over a focused, uninterrupted dinner. Recognize that personal growth and relationship needs aren't mutually exclusive. They're complementary. As you become a more fulfilled individual, you bring a richer, more authentic presence to your relationship. So work on yourself, but don't forget to meet your partner halfway. Now let's talk about compromise. Should couples compromise if their love languages clash? Absolutely. The key word here is compromise, not conform. It's about finding a middle ground where both partners feel valued and loved. For instance, if one person thrives on physical touch and the other on quality time, why not combine the two? Plan a date night where you can hold hands, cuddle, and enjoy each other's company. For instance, you could choose an activity that integrates both your love languages, like a cozy home-cooked dinner for the acts of service partner, while sharing uninterrupted conversation for the quality time partner. Alternatively, a simple evening, reading a book, walking, holding hands, could bridge physical touch and quality time, creating a shared moment that satisfies both needs. The goal is to create an environment where both partners feel their needs are equally acknowledged and cherished. Guess what? It's a win-win. Okay. Here's a spicy one. Can over-reliance on love languages make relationships transactional? Uh-oh. This goes back to intention. If you're keeping score or using love languages as a checklist, you are missing the point. Let me paint a picture of what this looks like. Imagine a partner who helps with chores or plans thoughtful dates, but only to earn points for themselves. They might say, I did X for you, so now you owe me Y. This transactional approach misses the essence of love languages, which is to foster authentic emotional connections. Love is about connection, not competition. Oh, I like that one. I'm going to say it again. Love is about connection, not competition. So stop competing with your partner. Learn to compromise. Learn to join. Learn to adapt. Learn to work together. So ask yourself, are you expressing love because you want to, or because you expect something in return from your partner? On the flip side, a healthy use of love languages looks like this. A partner notices their significant other has been stressed and spontaneously offers to handle a task or gives them a hug, not to earn credit, but because they genuinely care and want to lighten their load. The distinction lies in the intent. Love languages should serve as a framework for better understanding and meeting each other's needs, not as a system to track obligations or debts. Who does that, right? When love is expressed without expectation of reciprocation, it deepens intimacy and trust, creating a stronger, more genuine bond between partners. Love is about connection, not competition, as I said earlier. Last but not least, are love languages too simplistic to address deeper emotional needs? In some cases, yes. Love languages are a great starting point, but they're not the be-all and end-all. Sometimes deeper issues like unresolved trauma or communication barriers need to be addressed. For instance, couples might consider exploring therapy to uncover and work through past experiences that affect their current dynamic. Resources such as self-help books on emotional intelligence, guided journaling, or even workshops on effective communication can provide tools for navigating these challenges. By prioritizing personal and mutual growth alongside the framework of love languages, couples can cultivate a more holistic and fulfilling relationship. Think of love languages as the icing on the cake. They're important, but they're not the whole dessert. So what do you think? Do any of these questions resonate with you? Have any of these questions made you rethink how you approach love languages in your relationship? They're tough, right? But here's the thing. Asking these questions can lead to a better conversation or conversations with your partner, and ultimately a stronger relationship. Let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section of this episode. And now, let's dive into some questions that were sent to me via my DMs. Yes, I have DMs, y'all, but not those kind of messages, so we're clear. Our first one comes from a young lady in Atlanta. She asked me this question. What if my partner doesn't believe in love languages? How do I get them to care about mine? Great question, right? My advice? Start by leading with how understanding love languages can improve the relationship, not as a rule book, but as a tool to connect more effectively. And don't forget to model the behavior. Show them what it looks like to love them in their language. And when they see how it feels, they might start to buy in. Or you could even model how you want your love language to look from them, but through your actions that you are giving to yourself. Another question came from a young man from Chicago who asked me, my love language is physical touch, but my partner's is words of affirmation. How do I meet their needs when I'm not naturally verbal? Sir, I totally hear you, but start small. If words don't come easily, try writing notes or sending texts. It's a way to express your love without feeling forced. And don't forget, ask for help. I'm sure some of your homies, your boys, have sent messages, have used words of affirmation before. Or ask your mom, ask your sister, ask a cousin, ask a female friend. Trust me, they will walk you through it. Relationships are about growing together. And if you keep that at the forefront, you'll be fine. All right, lovebirds, that's a wrap for today's episode. So here's the deal. Love languages aren't magic. Remember, love languages are just a tool, a way to connect, grow, and show up for each other in meaningful ways. And like any tool, they only work if you use them properly. If today's conversation resonated with you, don't forget to subscribe to Hearts Flying from Heart's Distractions on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, iHeart, Pandora, Castbox. Yep, I'm on all your major podcast channels. Visit our website at www.aliciasdistractions.com. And also, follow us on social media on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook through Alicia's Distractions. And if you are feeling heartful, share this episode with someone who needs it. Let's keep this conversation going. Until next time, I'm Alicia Minor Gaines, reminding you to speak your partner's love language, embrace the messiness of connection, and pour your heart into what truly matters. Until next time, because there will be another juicy episode coming your way next Wednesday. So keep the wine flowing and your hearts open. Cheers!